We have with us U.S. Ambassador to Pakistan, Dr. Munter, who has recently assumed charge. Before arriving in Pakistan, Dr. Munter served in Serbia, Iraq, the Czech Republic, and Poland. As an ambassador designate, before arriving in Pakistan, Mr. Munter, during a media interview in Washington, said that the biggest challenge facing Pak-American relation at the moment is trust deficit, if we have to say the single biggest challenge. So we'll be talking about this trust deficit, and we'll be talking on various contours of Pak-US relations in this interview.
Thank you very much, sir. And it really is a good topic to talk about, the idea of trust. And the idea of trust is what is the basis of the relationship between Pakistan and the United States. It's come under fire, it's been tested, but what I hope I can work on with you and what I've seen is that we can build trust. We can build trust through the kinds of contacts that I've been lucky enough to have here in Lahore, on my second trip to Lahore, to actually go out and meet people of different types, women's groups, even the wonderful Lahore breakfast, where I can actually find out how people are living, what their values are, how they feel about the United States, the criticisms they hear, and to hear with respect and to try to answer as honestly as I can. That's, to me, the only way to deal with trust. Now, if people want to be in touch with our embassy, we have a new Facebook here in Lahore, at the consulate in Lahore. You can be even closer touch with us. We'll work on that trust even more.
Thank you. Mr. Ambassador, the recent flood of information, unfortunately I have to start from here, the recent flood of information unleashed by a website has made your job doubly difficult, especially if you are looking to resolve the issue of mistrust between Pakistan and the US. How do you see this thing folding out during your tenure in future?
It's very unfortunate that there was this WikiLeaks episode about which you are speaking. But I can assure you that in my contacts with your leadership, from the President, the Prime Minister, the Foreign Minister, even the leaders of the military, that your leaders in this country are committed to working together with the United States. Now, on the question of trust, we have to be open, we have to be straightforward. I've been that with the leaders that I've mentioned to you, and they've been straightforward with me. They've made it clear, as I think the Prime Minister made clear recently after he and I talked, we're not going to let the WikiLeaks episode get in the way of a very important relationship, the friendship that we need to build, and the service that we have to give to the Pakistani people, and the trust we have to build in the American people. We have a lot to do, and we're going to do it together.
Yes, Mr. Ambassador, this brings me, obviously there is a strong need to build that trust again and repair that whatever damage it might have caused to the relations. It seems that the recent economic assistance under Kerry-Lugar-Berman bill has not produced, or there are skeptics to that, the whole thing has not produced as good results as it should have been. And and often we have seen that during the course of this war on terror, the Pakistani security agencies and the US security agencies are not on the same page. So how would you deal with these kinds of issues? These issues are those issues which your predecessor had dealt for the last 3 years.
These are tough issues, and we'll continue to work on them for many years. But this is a multi-year commitment, the Kerry-Lugar-Berman, as well as our military aid. We not only have $1.5 billion per year for 5 years, but we also are doing almost the same amount for your military to help fight the common enemy of terrorism for the next 5 years. What we're talking about is a long-term relationship. Many people have talked to me about the disappointments of the past, when some Pakistanis have felt that the Americans are not standing with them. Well, we are standing with the Pakistanis now. We're talking very closely, learning from the Pakistanis what the assistance priorities are, and we have spent a lot of money. We've spent in this last year $800 million on projects that range from roads in South Waziristan to education in Punjab. All around the country, we have projects that have been successful. So we need to do a better job of explaining, and we will. Our Pakistani friends have to help us lead in that direction.
Yes, Mr. Ambassador, after Sawat operation and after South Waziristan, there has been quiet silence on the western front of ours. So how do you see the war progressing on this side of the border where you are?
Well, first of all, it's very important to acknowledge that there have been enormous sacrifices by the Pakistani military. and sacrifices by the civilians as well. 140,000 troops are fighting in the Northwest, and they've suffered over 3,000 casualties, and maybe 10 times that many among the civilians. So when we say all quiet, this has been a very tough fight over the last year or 18 months. So we very much appreciate and understand that the Pakistani military is making an enormous contribution to the fight against the terrorists. How we work in the future is something that we'll talk over very openly and frankly about what next steps are, trying to coordinate how we, with the weapons we have, and how you, with the weapons you have, in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, can fight the terrorists and ultimately protect the societies and the freedoms that we both enjoy.
Do you think that Pakistani forces going into North Waziristan as early as this winter, is there any possibility of that? I mean, because there are reports that they have said, I mean, they have showed their reluctance, they have shown their reservation of going into North Waziristan that fast.
Yes, I think that's a question you need to ask of the Pakistani military, because they are the ones who are going to do it. We're going to work with them to give them the advice and the help from both sides of the border that we can, but ultimately this is the choice of the Pakistani military.
There were reports in Pakistani media, Mr. Ambassador, that United States had asked drone strike, permission for drone strikes in Quetta for the Haqqani network and all that. So, I mean, is it true that, I mean, United States asked and then Pakistani military is basically has reservation on that? I mean, is it true?
On those kinds of questions, I think what we have to assess is that the Americans are fighting the terrorists, the Pakistanis are fighting the terrorists. There are many details about this, and this is something that we discuss with our colleagues at a great extent all the time.
Mr. Ambassador, you have been posted, I mean, you have had a brilliant career, and during that course of that career, you have been posted in those countries which were in transition, like Serbia, Iraq, and, you know, to a large extent, Poland also, and the Czech Republic. So do you think Pakistan is a country in transition too? I mean, do you think there is any?
It's an interesting question. Pakistan is the most complicated and interesting country I have ever lived in. And it is really a fascinating place. So it's difficult for me to say it's like other countries. Pakistan is unique. And Pakistan has its unique challenges. That said, I think a country that is going through the difficulties here can be a country that goes into transition to democracy, to stability, to be a good neighbor, a force of peace in the region, and can find that it's really having a takeoff in its economic and its social success. So in that sense, sure, a country in transition, but no transition is the same, and what I need to learn, and what I'm learning here in Lahore from as many people as I can, is the unique elements of Pakistan, what makes it really different than any other place on the earth.
Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.